Okay, what I'd like to do now is show you some of the licks and melodies from the opening song that I performed in the video. The reason I want to do this is because I think this shows, it really sums up all the techniques that I spoke about in the video, and it shows how I personally use them in my day-to-day playing style. You know, I can sit here all day long and show you licks and those sort of things, but they're still just licks, where now what I'm going to do is actually show you things that I've played within songs and, you know, used all these techniques. And what happens is all this stuff becomes more subliminal, and the objective is to be able to play, like I said earlier, you hear something in your head and you translate it to your hands and it just comes out naturally. You don't want to be thinking about any of this when you're playing. But here are some licks from the opening song, which is called Flashback. Okay, so I will play that slow for you. So basically what I'm doing here is using the major 7 arpeggios that I showed you earlier. And I'm just following the chord progression. D major 7, G major 7, C major 7. They spell out the chords. And I'm actually hearing that melody, even though it's so fast, it's kind of funny to call it a melody. But I hear that in my head and I play it on the guitar. So I can't sing that high, but you can see where I'm going with this. So when you hear those chords and that progression, I hear that melody, and that's what I play. That's the whole introduction, and that came about by hearing the melody, and because I've learned all those shapes and fingerings, I instinctively, when I hear the melody, know where to put my fingers. And that sometimes can take years to be able to develop that. But like I said earlier, everybody's different. So, you know, the more time you spend with the instrument and the more time you spend actually listening to what other people are playing, that will enable you to play with people and hear these melodies and be able to play these notes that oftentimes are less typical than just playing a standard scale and playing off of a scale. That's the kind of thing that I try to discourage. Okay, here's another lick from the song. Okay, actually I probably shouldn't call it licks, but a passage. And the reason I'm showing you this one is to see how you can kind of move these I can't sing that high, otherwise I would for you, but see, I'm using all those kind of arpeggio shapes and those notes that we talked about, but when you play them as melodies, they don't sound like scales. And instead of becoming licks, they become actual melodic passages that you can remember and sing along with, if you can sing that fast. So that passage there that I just played just shows how I'm tying together Just totally tying together all these different shapes. And then at the end here is the first time I actually really play a straight scale. And that's more for effect than anything, and it also is for me to get from point A to point B. And it's just an expression there. And then I'm back to playing the normal notes. But there's some licks in there that, that I'll show you because you might be able to use them to kind of break you out of just playing regular scales. And that's this one here that I happen to like. Okay, that lick that I just played is sort of like what I play at the end of the solo in this song, and it's my reason for showing it to you. It does combine some of the things we talked about earlier, the more scale-oriented things into the arpeggios. And it's more, you know, when it's played as a stream of conscious, as a complete thought, you don't realize, you know, oh, I'm playing a scale, or oh, it's an arpeggio. But by showing it to you that way, you can see how they all kind of mold together and become just a playing style. So hopefully all the information I gave you in this video will be useful. I was trying to start off each section with very basic concepts and then later show more advanced approaches to those concepts, and hopefully you can see how I personally apply all that in listening to the opening song that I performed. And that's it. Probably the next time you see me I will be on stage somewhere performing live. And that's it for now. So thank you very much for buying this video and spending the time. I had a great time making it, and I hope to see you out on the road sometime soon. Thank you. All right, so everybody's got their heroes, right? And the only way to get as good as your hero is to practice, practice, practice.